Hello, gorgeous Capricorns, and welcome to 2020. You all always get to start off the new year being a cardinal sign that sits at the solstice and takes us into the new year is always such a powerful placement, and I'm sure many of you feel that kind of intensity of having a birthday and having the beginning of a new year. And, 2020's kind of got a reputation, right? There's been a big talking up of this year and how it's the year. And I think, we always have those memes running around this time of year, right? As we prepare for a new year. Of course, this year has the beautiful number 2020, and we're kind of starting a new decade, and we're closing out a lot of the lessons we've been learning for the last 4 or 5 years. Our frequencies have been shifting this whole time, right? And especially Capricorns, the last 2 or 3 years, there's been a huge amount of frequency shift going on for you, and we're kind of hitting that critical mass point where you start to notice that life is lived a little differently than maybe it had been in the past. And, as I was thinking about your energy, I'm going to start shuffling here. A lot of thoughts were coming up to me because I feel like this is such a reflective time. You're not totally done with Saturn. In fact, Saturn's going to be doing a lot of heavy-hitting work with you in January during your birthday, which happy birthday to all the Capricorns, by the way. You're starting to get used to Jupiter moving through Capricorn, right? And Jupiter is going to very swiftly on January 8th conjunct that south node that's sitting with you in your sign. And have you really look at any shadow aspects of where you're stopping yourself, where you're not letting yourself move forward in life, right? Jupiter wants to expand things. That south node is going to have us look at any old things, any old habits, any old patterns, anything that's not serving us anymore. Magician. I'm loving it. And so already, yes, you're working with, and a card just fell, excuse me, Page of Pentacles. Love it. That Page of Pentacles has been coming out a lot. So you're not done with Saturn, right? Saturn's going to be moving toward Aquarius this year, and then going to retrograde back and hang out with you for a minute, and then finally move into Aquarius. But you're starting to feel the end phase of the Saturnian work that you've been doing, Queen of Wands. And you're starting to feel more of this Jupiterian energy that's all about expansion. But speaking of Saturn, another thing that's going on this month with all the energy in your sign is that Saturn is going to be conjunct Pluto, which, only happens every once in a while, right? This is a very rare conjunction because Saturn and Pluto both have very long transits. 9 of Pentacles. And so we're really looking at our structure, our foundation, and where we're holding ourselves maybe in structures that don't work. So all this energy is working with you, Capricorns. You've got quite the map of that energy going on here. The sun. Not to mention as well, you have a full moon lunar eclipse in your opposing sign of Cancer, highlighting where you want to shift in relationship, where you want to make changes, where you want to improve. Queen of Cups. Where you want to maybe free yourself once again from any old imprisoning beliefs, right? So everything's kind of illuminating. And, of course, that eclipse is follow-up from the eclipse we had in your sign in late December that was all about revolutionizing, who you want to be and how you want to be. So this eclipse season is quite personal to Capricorns. And as we move through your season, of course, energy starts to pour into Aquarius, your neighboring sign, the sign, that second house energy of where you're committing and where you want to put that energy, where you want to, oh my gosh, my deck is being so crazy. 5 of Cups. Okay. That is telling, actually, that 5 of Cups, right? Because of these eclipses and because of the way the energy is working in January, as a collective, one of the things that's happening is we are really having to do some mourning who we've been, and we're really having to embrace that in choosing what is good for us. We are morphing, we are leaving certain things behind, right? And so there's this catalytic, powerful energy going on, but there is a little bit of sadness with that because there's really no going back. These eclipses and the way that the energy is working is kind of like, the goal isn't to go back. We're not going to go back. This time you've kind of stepped into things that are meant to keep moving you forward. Another thing that's happening this month is Uranus is going direct in fellow Earth sign Taurus on the 10th, same day as that lunar eclipse in Cancer. So this is really interesting for you because Uranus direct, that's your 5th house, that's your creative heart chakra, right? And so you're getting these electrical pulses from that Uranus placement going direct during a full moon eclipse in your relationship sector. This is really powerful stuff, giving you like jolts of electricity. It's kind of bringing you to life in a new way, but that means that you've left your old form behind. Now, when I was thinking through the Capricorn energy, we've covered a lot about what I'm kind of feeling for you as far as having so many planets in your sign, so much going on with you all. You're ending a couple of things though. Saturn's starting to shift away, right? This year you're going to start to notice that it's heading on its way. There's a kind of closeout with the Saturn. South node of the moon is finishing up its transit through your sign as well over the next few months. So these things that have been working really hardcore with you are closing out, are finishing their residency in your sign. And so there's also a sense that while these things have been dominant themes for you, they're also shifting out. But the thing that came to mind when I thought of you all, where we get to the cards, is something that I've been really on a Martha Beck kick. And if you haven't read Martha Beck or listened to her talk, she's really brilliant. And she's really into this idea. She has this great diagram that she uses, and it has 3 layers. So it looks like the core of the earth or something, you know, when you see one of those, when we were learning about seismic activity in the Earth's core, it looks like one of those diagrams where it has like rings, and there's 3 levels to it. So there's the shallows on the external, then there's the ring of fire, and then at the center there's the core of peace. And often, so the shallows is all our ego-driven stuff, you know, like we want to look good, we want to appear really pulled together on social media, or we're like trying to accomplish goals via that more external, like looking, how we look and how we act in the world kind of energy. The core of peace is that inner being, that inner guidance that we're always told to seek for. And the ring of fire is in between those two in this diagram, right? And she really is an advocate that, you know, we want to avoid our pain. We want to avoid what's scary. We want to avoid those times in life that are catalytic and maybe even feel a little bit like things are falling apart. But if we are willing to go through that ring of fire, consciously aware that we are connecting with something really deep and divine, that is how we reach a deeper sense of that core of peace. That's how we reach the core of peace. We don't reach it by avoiding the ring of fire. And I was thinking about you all because I feel like you've been through the ring of fire. That's part of what's been going on for you, is there's been this theme of you going through that ring of fire into the core of peace. And now, one of the things you're going to be noticing with the way that you move through the world is you are moving much more from that core of peace rather than the shallows, which the shallows is very much, you know, we can manifest from there, but it's always kind of empty, half-baked, a little bit, like it doesn't really have flavor. And so let's talk about these cards, because we have the Devil and the Magician, right? First out of the gate, we get some major arcana going your way. And when I think about these 2 cards, these are such different elements. You know, the element of the deep underground earth and the element of like electricity or energy or air, you know, movement through the world. This is like the underworld, and then the messenger who can transmute through all of those, right? And of course, you know, Devil is the Capricorn card, which is always such an interesting thing. Of course, I think of you much more in terms of like the feminine principles of the deep, dark earth and rich soil and empowerment via that rootedness. But so the Devil here, I think, is what I'm saying, is it's not really representing you as much as it's representing where you maybe feel you don't have to hold on anymore, but where you maybe are feeling a reminder of where you've been held, where you felt stuck or stifled, and that you're getting met with this electrical energy of the Magician, which is so much about movement. It's so much about new opportunity. It's so much about zinging to life, all the things you want. And the thing is, there is kind of a choice to be made here, because you can always choose to stick with what is familiar, what is known, what feels safe. You can always choose to stick with that. But you can always choose as well, when you notice that you're starting to get these revolutionary energies that are infusing your life, to step on. And that is part of the bittersweetness of this month, because sometimes the devil isn't always about really painful situations. It doesn't always have to be about those things you just can't stand anymore and you have to burn out of your life. The devil can also represent things that feel comfortable, that feel familiar, that feel safe, that feel like, if you choose that, you know what you're getting. It's also about familiarity. A lot of times our obsessiveness is about keeping ourselves safe in familiarity. And so when we see the devil here, it's a reminder that, to choose a new life, to choose how we move through the world, to listen to our core of peace means we're often leaving the familiar and we're going on an adventure. Now for you all, I have to tell you, I pulled 8 cards here, and 7 of the 8 are all about you moving forward. It's not about the past. It's not about worry. It's not about any of those modalities that maybe have kept you in a cycle of stress. These are about things working and working with relative ease. So we have the Magician, and we have Page of Pentacles, Queen of Wands, and then 9 of Pentacles. Look at all these pentacles, my friends. Page of Pentacles and 9 of Pentacles is that assurance that if you are listening to that core of peace, that part of yourself that kind of knows just how to move through the day. It's always that mysticism of, just following the impulses. The impulse to drive that way instead of that way, to walk on this route instead of that route, to pick up the phone and call that friend that you've been thinking about, even though it makes no sense why they popped into your mind. All those little impulses, that's the core of peace speaking to you and moving you through the world. And that is where you are always provided for. You really are always provided for. There's always a way, right? And the way is normally very easy when you're in that core of peace thing. Now, the Queen of Wands is really interesting here, because Page of Pentacles and 9 of Pentacles are also about ease. They're also about well-being, health, energy, feeling well. Just feeling like you are physically here and able and capable and grounded and strong and clear and at ease. And the Queen of Wands is helping this along. Now, of course, you may have a fire sign in your life. They may be teaching you something about this modality, or this could really be you as well, owning your ability to hold space. The Queen of Wands really owns her space, right? She doesn't really self-question. Queen of Wands is all about the actions we take in the world. And the Queen of Wands is also about deliberate action and action that's coming from that core of peace. Not just busy work, but action that is from our soul, right? And so when the Queen of Wands is here, she's brazen in the sense that she will just own her space and say, yeah, I know that this is mine. I know this is my destiny. I know that I'm allowed to sit here, and I know that the movements I make are right for me. And I think, Cappies, you do have confidence. You're very confident, strong, bold people. I love that about you. But from this going through the ring of fire, you may have come to a place where you're like, am I allowed to take that space again? Absolutely. Here is your reminder to absolutely take that space, absolutely take that center point. Because you know how I was talking about Uranus going direct in your fellow Earth sign of Taurus? This is very good for you. It's electrifying how you move through the world, how you share your gifts in the world, and also how good things happen in your life. And it's a reminder of this idea of play. No matter how serious a project or a goal may seem, if we're not in a modality of play with it, then we are missing a big piece of the puzzle, right? And that's where this this Sun comes in. Also the 9 of Pentacles. These are very playful energies. These are very light-hearted energies. They're not taking life seriously in the way that sometimes I think we need to take life seriously. This is serious business. These cards are a reminder that we can always hold. There are so many things in life we can hold lightly that we unconsciously choose to hold heavily. Of course, there are heavy things in life. Loss and grief can be really heavy, and it's okay to feel those. But sometimes I think we get really heavy about our to-do list, our chores, setting our alarm, cooking our meals. We can get very I have to get this done. And it's a reminder to be in that light place. Now, here's the thing. I do think, Cappies, you may be feeling through some deeper energies, right? Queen of Cups is so great. I love this energy for you all, right? This is all about trusting your intuition, being soft, holding yourself softly, trusting that you know what you need. But because she's here by the Five of Cups, I have to say that this is also a check-in. And you may be noticing that January, as you're kind of coming fully into this next phase, and as you're noticing the energy map changing with Jupiter being with you, with the fact that some of these planets and placements are starting to shift into new gears, that you're also closing out whatever lessons you were learning. And I think there can be actually a bittersweetness in saying goodbye to things that maybe even were hard, that were lessons, that did like ask us to show up to something, like, and while we were doing it we're like, oh, when will this ever end? But now that it's over, there's a bit of this goodbye. And that's what Five of Cups is all about. There is healing here, there is nurturing here, and it's okay to take a moment to really look around and integrate whatever it is that came in as a message for you during those years. This is a very reflective energy here. So you have a duality, and I think this is the perfect duality. It's a really great reminder. Hold things lightly, play, have fun rearranging your work schedule. What feels good to you? What's a good weekly schedule that feels light and playful for you? Where are you doing things in an order that maybe is not working for you? And how can you do those little micro shifts? All of that playful, creative, juicy energy that's like, get in there, electrify your life, try new things, change it up, is also being met with an undertone here of remembering that it's okay to also be sad for those things that are leaving your life and shifting gears. I'm going to pull a final card from my Animal Totem Tarot. This is a deck my friend gave me a few years ago, and I had kind of put it in the background. And just recently, I have been clearing out some spaces, and I landed on this deck, and I was like, oh my gosh, why haven't I been using this? It's so beautiful. And the messages, the book, the creator of this deck, who wrote the messages for these cards, it's so beautiful. So I'm just learning a lot. And animal symbolism is such a useful way. You got the otters. I just got this for another sign, and this is such, I think I got it for Aquarius, actually, your neighboring sign. So the otters is a beautiful card. I love it so much. Look at these cuties. This is about play, right? And wasn't I just saying about being lighthearted and playful? Neighbors often share messages, but I will read the message for the Six of Cups, the otters. They have a really beautiful message. Play is not just a big part of our lives. It is the very energy we manifested from. Everything we experience in this physical form is a part of a game we call life. Yes, the biggest play of all is life you came here to live. But you didn't come here to play alone, as this particular game is not a one-player game. You came here to play with others. Playing with others is not only good fun, but it's what the soul came here to do. And I love that message for you, because we didn't even really get into it in this particular reading, but there's a lot of connectiveness. That's part of this playfulness for you. That's part of this lightness for you, is not having to do everything on your own, not having to be self-sufficient all the time, not feeling like you have to be this autonomous machine that's getting things done, but that you can relax into play, that you can relax into love, that you can relax into these soft spaces. I also have a toast for you all for the new year. These are my New Year wishes for Capricorns, and I'm so excited to share it with you. I will toast with my sparkling water. Let's go. May the way be clear and bright and loving. May you give yourself permission to follow your heart and do what feels right. May you take all the skills you have amassed over the last 2 years and watch with joy and surprise as you witness yourself growing and doing the things you might never have thought possible before. May you feel freedom in all that you choose. Wow. I'm so excited for Cappies. I hope you have a beautiful beginning to the year. I am toast to you. Of course, if you haven't joined me on Patreon, I would love to see you over there. Thank you to those of you who have. I'm putting a lot of extra materials up there. You get to learn a lot more about me as a person, not just as this reader and speaker. You learn a lot more about me, and it also adds so much more about transits. I will be doing something on the Saturn-Pluto conjunction. I will be doing a lot of little rituals and check-ins for things like closing out the South Node in Capricorn. So there's a lot of really powerful things. If you are interested in joining me over there, I would love to see you. I'll leave the link in my description box. You can also find me on Instagram at SarahVerba or on my website, sarahverba.com. I have a very limited reading schedule for 2020 that I have not opened up yet, but if you'd like to be on the notification list so you know when I open that calendar, I would highly recommend you email me so that I can set you up. And of course I'm wearing PinkLune's gorgeous jewelry. She made this crown specifically for me. I love it. I wear it all the time, but she has a lot more beautiful crowns there as well as beautiful brass creations. So highly recommend you go check out her Etsy shop. Like I said, all the goodies are in the description box. I will see you all for more moon magics, for February readings, all the good stuff ahead, and I am sending you all of my love.